everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's been a minute since our last visit to Walt Disney World, but here's the thing, it's been really busy. There's been the Princess Half Marathon going on and then the holidays and all that stuff. So we took a little break, a little breather, but we're back. And we're not just back to wander around the park all willy-nilly, although we probably will do just that. But I want to answer another vacation planning question. Do you have to visit all 4 theme parks when visiting Walt Disney World? So join me today here at Animal Kingdom as we wander around the park and dig into this question, which I think is a really important one, but we'll get more into that here in a bit. Let's go in. So here at the Walt Disney World Resort, there are 4 theme parks, and each of those theme parks is going to be different, despite the fact that everyone tends to put them all in the same box. And I mean, it's not really a stretch to put them all in the same box because they're all part of Walt Disney World, but Walt Disney World is a really big place. In fact, we talked about this in some of our previous discussions. It's the size of San Francisco, it's massive. So it can be a little bit misleading to lump all 4 theme parks together as one, and certainly confusing to people who have never been here before. But that's something that we really dig into in our What is Walt Disney World video, which I will put a link in the description to so that you can go check that out. But the point is, there are 4 different theme parks here, and each of those different theme parks is going to appeal to different people. We've got Magic Kingdom, which is all about fantasy, and then we have Epcot, which is the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. Not sure why these chairs are here, but it's all right. Hi, buddy. It's been a little bit since I've seen you. And of course, we have Hollywood Studios themed to the movies, and Animal Kingdom themed to, of course, animals. Hey guys. Now, the differences between all 4 of the theme parks here at the Walt Disney World Resort go well beyond the theme. Each of the 4 parks really offers a different experience, and that means each of the 4 parks is going to appeal to different people for different reasons. Like I said, we have Magic Kingdom, which has all of those fantasy rides, and it really is like a quintessential park for kids. It's a great place to get your feet wet with attractions. There are a lot of attractions that appeal to kids, but there are a lot of attractions that appeal to grown-ups as well. Then there's Epcot. Now, Epcot is an interesting one because that's where you're going to find all of your festivals, which are going to give you the opportunity to eat and drink around the world. Next, of course, there's Hollywood Studios, which at least to date is probably the least appealing of the parks. It needs the most love. That's a conversation we can have a little bit later, but this is where you're gonna find your thrill rides. It's themed to movies, which is pretty exciting, stunt shows and stuff. It's a pretty cool park. And finally, we have Animal Kingdom. It's essentially a zoo, even though it's not.
Not a zoo.
Hey there, crocodile. Been a while. How you doing? Seems like you're doing good. Now, like I said, each of these 4 theme parks is going to be different, and each of them is going to appeal to different people and different families. And even though it might be controversial to say, I don't think that every theme park here is right for every family. Now, don't get me wrong here. Every park here at Walt Disney World will have something for everyone, no matter what age. I'm honestly coming to learn that that's one of the best things about the theme parks here at the Walt Disney World Resort, is that anyone can come here and enjoy any of these parks. But like we say so often, different people have different interests and wants and needs. And so not every park is going to appeal to everyone in the same way. And I think that this is one of the things that have people missing out on opportunities that they would otherwise really enjoy if they took the time to visit Walt Disney World. Because look, let's just be honest with each other here. Most of the time when people talk about Walt Disney World, when they talk about the theme parks, they're talking from a certain perspective, the perspective of someone who has some emotional connection to Walt Disney World, and they want you to have that emotional connection too, which is great. It's wonderful. People want to share the things that they love. But people who don't have that background or that emotional connection, you know, people who didn't grow up going to Disney, or they don't necessarily have an interest in Mickey Mouse and Cinderella, might be turned off by that type of sell, if you will. You know, like people using those things to try and entice them to go on a Disney vacation. But that's not all there is when it comes to Walt Disney World, especially when we talk about some of the theme parks like Animal Kingdom, like Epcot. Now, of course, we're at Animal Kingdom today, so we'll be able to wander around and I can actually show you what I'm talking about. But before we dig into that, I want to take a second and focus on Epcot. Now, do you remember how earlier I said that Epcot is where all the festivals take place and it's a great place if you want to eat and drink around the world? I think this makes it a great park for people who enjoy food, enjoy drinks from different countries, countries, maybe people who enjoy going to breweries and trying different types of beer, definitely people who like trying different types of wine, and there's a lot of it to try over at Epcot, especially during one of the festivals, but even when there isn't a festival going on. Now, those of you who aren't necessarily familiar with Epcot might not realize that there's a section of the park, it's a sizable section actually, probably half, if not more than half, that is known as World Showcase. And World Showcase features pavilions from 11 countries around the world, not only where you can taste the food and drink the drink, but also you can interact with people from those countries. Now, if you're a fan of Disney, you're probably thinking, yeah, this is super cool, but you probably are a little bit biased because everything is super cool when it's Disney, right? But even if you're not a fan of Disney, if you have no emotional attachment to this place, it's still pretty cool to be able to go to one place and try food and drink from 11 different countries in a controlled environment without having to do much, just keep wandering around. It's like the ultimate bar crawl. And I think that this could be super appealing to a lot of different people who otherwise wouldn't even look the way of visiting Walt Disney World. I'm talking about those solo travelers out there who want to be able to do this type of thing in an environment that's a bit safer, a bit more controlled, or even groups who want to do that same thing. But I also know some families who would absolutely love this type of experience, but they don't even think of it as an option because it's at Walt Disney World, and in their mind, Walt Disney World is a very specific thing. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be. We talk about it all the time, but you can honestly build a Disney vacation or a vacation to Walt Disney World like you would build a vacation to any other major city and have it accommodate your wants and needs versus trying to fit you and your family into that vacation destination. That's not necessary anywhere else, and Walt Disney World isn't any different from anywhere else, really. 5-minute wait for Expedition Everest? Let's do it. I feel like it's been so long since we've been on this attraction, so this is pretty exciting. It's going to be basically a walk-on. I mean, knock on wood, because I say that, you know, but this is great. Man, I love Expedition Everest. It's so much fun, and I love getting the chance to ride with someone who's never ridden before, which I got the opportunity to do today. We were just having a blast. By the time we got off, he was like, oh, I'm going back. And I was like, you should go and do it again. Only a 10-minute wait too, so perfect opportunity to loop that coaster, at least right now. It's something you don't get the chance to do all that often, so I'd be going back on it again, but yeah, we got other things to do. Now, we talked about Epcot and how that can be a really interesting park to visit if you enjoy eating and drinking around the world and stuff. But there is another park that I think can appeal to guests who aren't really interested in the other Walt Disney World theme parks, and that's the one we're at right now, Animal Kingdom. Now, I said that Animal Kingdom is themed to animals, which it is, and that it's a zoo, which it is, but it's not like your standard issue zoo, you know? It's a little bit more interesting than that. Sure, it has its roller coasters, it's got its live entertainment, but there are also some amazing ways to enjoy the animals here. And we're walking through one of them right now. Though, it's a little cool out this morning, and it's early, so we're not getting a chance to see too many animals, but still, it's a beautiful walk. I mean, just look at this place.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of what I was talking about, why we give them stuff to play with. We might see our other tiger as well, or this other one.
How cool was that? I've never seen the tiger that close. Of course, I just kind of scooted along because there were some kids that wanted to see the tiger, so, you know, we have a lot of chances to come over here and check him out. But look at this! I've never seen these over here before. How cool! Oh my goodness. They're Asian water buffalo. How cool is that? I wonder how long these guys have been here. Or girls, because they're all girls. Never seen them out here. Got another look at this water buffalo over here, but check it out if we turn this direction. We've gotten super lucky today seeing some amazing animals, but now we're in the aviary, which is one of my favorite parts of this park. Yes, I know that you're risking getting pooped on if you're in here, but it's so cool. You just have to check it out. Also, I don't know who's making that noise. Oh, wow. I've never noticed those guys before. Can you see them? They've got like pink bodies with gray wings. Got some birds using this bird bath. There are some beautiful birds in here, and I love how close you can get. Oh my goodness. Maybe a little bit too close. Maybe just a little too close.
He's such a piece of work.
Is this who was making that noise?
He's got many opinions to share.
All right.
And that noise boiled down to, "Where's my girlfriend?"
Okay.
And she actually answered, which is a special occasion. Normally, she doesn't give him more than a cursory glance. This is Alfred and Frida. They are our two Malayan Great Argus pheasants. Very impressive mating display, even if she's not generally too impressed. But even though she's not always impressed, they have never laid an infertile egg together. Whether or not she'll give him the time of day in that department today, somewhere between slim and none.
Guys, how cool was that? I've never had the opportunity to see anything like that. I mean, yeah, you get a chance to go in there and enjoy the birds, and I love doing that, but that was a new one for me. It was like we were in an episode of National Geographic. So cool. And this is only one of a couple different trails that are available here, but exhibits like this are located throughout the park. So it's a great place to wander around, especially if you love animals. All right, but back to our discussion, which I'll be honest with you, is a little bit hard to pick back up because that was such an exciting little moment in our day, but we've got things to talk about. So let's get it together. Now, just because different theme parks will appeal to people who don't necessarily have a love for Disney doesn't mean that you won't see little touches of Disney at these parks. You definitely will. But even if you have no connection to that or you're not really interested in it, again, doesn't mean that you can't appreciate the elements of these parks that you're most interested in. In fact, I think that those elements carry these parks. The other things are just little touches, especially for the kids who are traveling with families to these parks every year, because they do. And this is Disney after all. We can't lose sight of that. Like, despite all of what I'm saying here, this is still the Walt Disney World Resort. But even if you're traveling to other places around the world, maybe you're going to a city here or there, or a state here or there, odds are you're not traveling to that place for everything that place has to offer. There are going to be things that interest you and things that don't. The same is true here. And if you really want to take advantage of things like what Epcot has to offer with their festivals or all of the animals here at Animal Kingdom, you don't have to be interested in meeting Moana, you know? Just something that you also can do. And honestly, it's something that I think can appeal to the little ones in your family. What is with these squirrels? Are you seeing this? They fear nothing. Anyway, having things like that available at these parks, you know, the Disney characters or whatnot, they can also appeal to the little ones in your family. So if you do want to, let's say, go to Epcot and drink around the world, they still have something that they can do that interests them as well, which is something that you don't... That squirrel just touched me. Too many close encounters with animals today. This was not the plan. What if I dance? If I dance and finish this phrase, can I get it out before we move on? So having things like character meet and greets and other fun things that your kids can do, honestly, is kind of a great plan, because you don't really get that if you go to like a local food and wine festival with your kids, you know? Like, but you get it at Disney, which is awesome. Okay, let's move on. Another thing that I think is interesting about these parks, which I don't know, it just occurred to me as I'm wandering through, is that they also offer some thrills. Every one of them offers thrills as well as stuff that will, again, be interesting to pretty much anyone in your party. So even if you're not interested in animals, you can still have the character meet and greets for the little ones, or the thrills for someone who's a bit more of a thrill seeker, and kind of please everyone in your traveling party. So that's cool too. And this is, at least for the most part, true for almost all of the 4 theme parks, the exception being Magic Kingdom, which has the attractions that'll appeal to the little ones and to the thrill seekers. But if you're a foodie, Magic Kingdom is not the place you want to be. Now we're making our way onto Pandora right now, but you know what just occurred to me is that there is another park that we need to talk about when it comes to specific elements of parks that appeal to people who aren't necessarily Disney people, and that's Hollywood Studios. Now, Hollywood Studios, I mentioned earlier, it needs some help, and it does. It needs some help. But Hollywood Studios does have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I know, what was I thinking? How could I possibly have forgotten Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? It happens. I'm only human. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge offers food and dining, theming, a cantina, and other experiences that'll make you feel like you truly are in a galaxy far, far away. And that makes it a perfect place to check out if you're a Star Wars fan. And you know, one of the things that I think makes Star Wars Galaxy's Edge so special is that you do have the opportunity to dress up and kind of play a role in the entire environment, which isn't for everyone, don't get me wrong, but if it's for you, then I think that that could be a really cool place to visit, even if you're completely uninterested in everything else that Disney has to offer. But that's kind of at the heart of this discussion, isn't it? Like, there are so many things to do at Walt Disney World that appeal to different people, and sure, different people might not think other things are appealing. So the question goes back to, do you need to visit all 4 theme parks when you visit the Walt Disney World Resort? My answer is no, most definitely not. Now again, everyone's gonna feel differently about this, everyone's gonna have different opinions, and that's wonderful. There are also gonna be plenty of families who have interests in multiple different things, and so visiting multiple different theme parks, if not all 4 theme parks here at the Walt Disney World Resort, is gonna be the way to go. But I don't think that it's as necessary as some people make it out to be, especially for people who have no interest in certain parks. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's true. Or people who might not have a budget for visiting all 4 theme parks. And you know, that's where this conversation, like so many of the other conversations that we have, gets kind of tricky, because it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's going to have different wants and needs, everyone's going to have different capabilities, and so you need to know what's right for you and your family in order to make the decision that's right for you and your family. For some people and some families, that's going to mean visiting all 4 theme parks, but for other people, it's simply not, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's another thing that people get hung up on, is hearing what other people have to say and hearing their must-dos and how you have to do something. You don't have to do anything. In fact, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The thing that's most likely to ruin your vacation is to allow other people to drive it, to go off of what they think you should do. Build a list of must-dos off of their must-dos. Do the things that they think you should do. That's not how this is done. Look, no one knows your family better than you do. And so the only person who should be figuring out what should be on that must-do list is you. Sure, you can take other people's opinions and use those opinions to formulate your own, but if it doesn't feel right to you, doesn't interest you, doesn't make you feel like, yes, this will be the best thing to add to the list of things I want to do on vacation, why are you adding it to your list? Seriously. Why? Also, I want to take a second to say something that probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway because we all need a reminder every now and again. It's your money. I know, it's a silly thing to have to say, but it is. It's your money, and I think that you should spend it in a way that you not only feel is best, but also in a way that you're most comfortable with. And if that means only visiting one of the 4 theme parks, then so be it. If that means visiting all 4 theme parks, that's great. But I think that there's a lot of people who get a little bit sucked into the nostalgia and what Disney means to them, especially when trying to talk to other people about Disney. And for them, it's a package deal, but it really doesn't have to be. At least not in my opinion. But I want to know what you have to say, so leave all your thoughts in a comment down below. Also take a second, hit that thumbs up button, we really appreciate it, and subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss any other vacation planning videos or adventures that we go on. Because we got so much fun stuff planned, you do not want to miss 1 second of it. Until then, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.